To give you a quick summary of what I do is complicated. I'm the person that goes searching for things that most are too scared to believe in, whether they are willing to admit it or not. I've searched for Wendigos, Aswangs, Kikamora, and other things that I'm not sure of. I keep a whole journal filled with everything I have run into, but nothing compares to the being that I recently encountered. The thing that made me take a step away for a bit. This case starts with a rumor I heard at a bar in the middle of nowhere. Nonetheless, I had stopped in right after a case of mine that just ended. One involving a supposed Jersey Devil sighting. That story, though, is for another time. As I was driving, I had noticed that the bright red lights outlining the name of the bar continued to blink repeatedly and in an uneasy fashion, as if I was being beckoned to this place. The inside was quaint, almost like your typical old-fashioned movie bar. Warm yellow lights illuminated almost every nook and cranny, except for a few booths where the lights appeared to be out. People walking to and from the bar with drinks in one hand and cigarettes in the other. I scratched the back of my neck, fighting the urge to have one more sweet cig. It had been a couple months since I had last had one. An older man with round glasses and a white beard brushed past me, followed by an older lady with a lip packed full of chew. I knew nothing. I probably sounded like a hypocrite for this, but I never really got into the whole chew addiction. As I made my way further into the bar, stepping on broken peanut shells and popcorn, I noticed something peculiar. At the corner of the bar, top a low-hanging light flickered as if someone was messing with a dim switch before turning off completely. It felt abnormal, and once again I felt compelled to its location. I gently waded through a sea of brash and burly men to a spot under the light. As I leaned up against an old cracked wooden pillar, the light turned back on. "What can I get you?" a young woman with raven hair asked. Her eyes were intoxicated and dark blue. Caught off guard by the sight of them, I stammered a reply. "Whatever you have on tap, please." She smiled, nodded, and giggled as she walked away. While waiting for my drink, I stared down and fiddled with my grandfather's old military universal Geneve watch. I rubbed my thumb over the small crack in the glass face, thinking about the time my father said it would soon be mine. While reminiscing, I couldn't help but overhear two patrons talking behind me. Shifting a little bit, I aimed my better ear towards them and listened. The only thing that stuck out to me most were the words, "shadowy figure," making a mental note to talk to them when things died down a bit. Once things finally slowed down, I decided to approach the two men myself. "Hey man, I couldn't help but overhear you say something about a shadowy figure." The man on the right stared at me incredulously. The dark pink scar across his face was hard to ignore. One eye was grey-white, the other was dark brown. He stood up and snorted and pushed past me, shoving his shoulder into mine. The other man who remained at the table looked at me for a long time without saying anything. His hair was long and unkempt alongside his scraggly red beard. He looked at me as though he had been drinking since the bar opened. To cut the silence, I spoke up once again. Listen, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but this kind of stuff I look into. I'm a investigator of sorts. Take a look. I opened up my jacket and pulled out a compendium I've been working on. Gently sitting it on the table, I slid it to the man, saying, "Have a look for yourself." I then walked to the bartender, ordered 2 more drinks, and walked back to the man, handing him one. He took it, looked up and said, "All right, I believe you, but I'm only going to tell you a few things. Do you mind if I record?" He looked sheepishly at me, stroking his beard before finally speaking up. "As long as you don't mention my name or this place's name." "Works for me," I said, pulling out my audio recorder and loading in a new cassette. Audio transcription, case log 26, name, John Doe, location, not on file. Ready when you are. This creature or whatever it is, it's not like anything here in this book. I know you've got a few pages on shadow folk, but it's not like that. The thing was black. Just pure black. Pure black. Not like see-through-ish black or an almost black man. No, not at all like that. It was just darkness. Like nothing was there. It looked like there wasn't even a person there. No features, nothing, just empty, like nothing I've ever seen before. So you're saying that you came across something that was just like the absence of any color. Where did you find it, and what did it do? The man just sat there for a few minutes, just looking down as if he was contemplating his next words. Although he did look terrified and sweat started to appear on his brow. Listen, man, if this is too hard for you to remember or think of, I get it. It's not that. I remember everything. I wish I didn't. The things it did, and the things I saw, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, not even a stranger like you. What do you mean? What did it do? Where can I find it? You could tell the eagerness in my voice to learn more. I won't tell you where it is, but let's just say I haven't not been to this bar every day for the last few months. It told me things, it showed me things. Oh God, the things it showed me. Everyone is dying. The world, is on fire and... The man's head fell into his hands and he began weeping almost uncontrollably. God damn it! Not again! I think it's time for you to leave. The bartender yelled from across the counter. Audio transcript. Case log 26. Over. After consoling the man and bringing him outside to wait for a taxi, he finally told me where it had all happened. It did take a lot of convincing and a few 20s for the safety of others. I will not disclose this location, but I wasn't even sure I'd find it. The place was interesting. The drive was as well. The man's instructions were pretty concise. Drive here, turn at tree, turn, and boom, you're at the location. That was the simplified version. Like I said, I don't want anyone finding out about this place. It was a small, quaint town's settlement, maybe. I don't know what to call it. Kind of a small commune. 3 buildings, a post office, a bar, and a rundown church. The road I was driving on had little remnants of pavement on it. Garbage and weeds were littered all about. Driving a little further, I noticed 2 houses on each side of the road. One was a faded brown with half the door left on its hinges. The other had not a single unbroken window and the roof was caved in. But neither of those were what I was after. Another mile past the ghost town was a farm, or what was left of one. The barn had collapsed, broken fences littered the sides of the road, and a somewhat still functioning chicken coop, except there weren't any chickens, just a bunch of mice and birds. Finally, facing forward, I saw what I was looking for. The main house. The sun was setting as I finished my way down the long driveway. Looking through my windshield, I noticed that the house was still somewhat intact. No broken windows, the red paint had only faded and chipped away slightly, and the roof had not collapsed yet. As I parked my truck, I got an unsettling feeling, and flashes of one of my cases came to mind. It dealt with a farmhouse like this. The family inside was all over the place, to say the least. Inside the living room was what seemed to be a man on his knees, but as I entered the room and turned around, baring his teeth, it wasn't a man at all, but a waiter-gay. It charged at me, throwing me to the side and running out the door. I didn't see it again, but that family, what happened to them, always stuck. Remembering that really made me contemplate leaving, saying fuck this, but I needed to know what would drive a man to break down to that point. Cautiously, I walked up the steps, peering in the windows to make sure no one was inside. Thankfully, the place appeared to be empty. I turned on my flashlight and reached the little doorknob until I heard, "Don't," very quietly. I shoot around to see nothing, thinking it was all in my head. I turned the knob and went in. As soon as I entered the house, I fell. I fell for what seemed like minutes, sliding down this pitch black hole, hearing screaming and feeling hands grab and scratch at me. Their nails ripped and tore at my flesh. I felt warm blood running across my skin before finally hitting the ground. I woke, sitting in a chair with something standing across from me, waiting for my vision to come into focus and my head to stop throbbing. I looked around to see where I was. I appeared to be in what looked like a root cellar, with a few lights barely illuminating the room. Trying to gain my composure, I finally heard something speak. You came seeking answers, and now you are here. Where are you? I'm right in front of you. I looked up to see. I'm not sure what. It wasn't just empty. It was as if there was a void standing in front of me, almost like looking into the night sky, but no stars in sight. It was like the absence of light. No features of anything could be seen. The light from my flashlight didn't even appear on him. The dread resonating off him made me want to scratch my eyes out to not feel it anymore. I quickly pulled out my recorder and pressed record before the being finally spoke up once again. Audio transcript, case log 26, name, entity, location, seller. I am the absence of light, the absence of good. I am only darkness. So, you're the devil? No, you fucking idiot. I am the embodiment of evil. Sounds a lot like you're the devil to me. Your Christian beliefs are not real. Every religion is wrong. When you die, there's no light. There's no heaven, no hell, only darkness. You become a part of me. Before there was anything, there was me. And when everything ends, I will be all that remains. You're an insignificant speck in the infinite, always dying universe. Let me show you. The being reached what seemed to be a hand at me, and I quickly scooted back, avoiding his grasp. What if I don't want to see? That's a first. Every being, person, or thing I have met has never rejected me. Never rejected the truth. All those that have searched have never turned away. But how am I supposed to believe you? You could just be lying. I saw what you did to that man. He was a mess after running into you. I mean, you did also say you're the embodiment of evil. He was just a stepping stone, a precipice to us meeting. Even more insignificant than you. And what's more evil? Lying to you about what's really out there, or showing But what is this so-called truth of yours? What will I see? What you see depends on who you are. Some see good things, some see bad. It depends on the person. That doesn't really make sense. You could see the beginning of time from when the first microbe evolved or when the first asteroid hit. You could see wars fought or some that will soon start. Your death or birth or just nothing at all. You sit in emptiness for what feels like eons passing until you finally go mad. So, do you want to see it or not? Fine. Fuck it. I'm in. Audio transcript case log 26. End. With that, the being placed his hand on my head, and the most immeasurable things happened. It was as though I was seeing the past, present, and future all at once. The creation of everything, every universe, person, and plant. The destruction of it all. I felt 1,000 deaths and heard 1,000 pleas, but I somehow focused on one thing. My first encounter with an unknown creature. The thing that caused the first domino to fall and the rest to follow. It was Saturday, June 22nd, 1996. I was barely a boy, about 6 years old. My father just came home from work as my mom was finishing up supper. As we were eating, a loud screech came from outside, shattering the windows of our house. My father quickly got up and grabbed a knife before a beautiful woman with black hair stopped him. She wore a tattered dress, looked malnourished, and was covered in cuts. Her goldish features and gaunt look still creeps into the corner of my mind. My father stood still, almost in a trance, and was unable to move. The woman inched closer, grabbing his head and turning it to the side, my mother wailing and telling me to look away before the woman spoke. "I'm sorry you have to see this." With that, the woman got close to his ear, screaming in it. As the blood came out of his eyes and ears, it was as though her screechers were liquefying everything in his head. The screeching became so loud that not only were my mom's ears bleeding, but so were my own. I passed out soon after and woke up in the hospital, just to be told that I was an orphan. More flashes came and went. I soon was in the deepest parts of what could have only been hell. Feeling whips hit my back and creatures digging their nails into my calves and pulling down, ripping and tearing flesh off, eating it straight off my bones, and stabbing rusty knives into my stomach, only for it to reset and happen again and again. Then, when that was all over, I was unchained, and they began nailing me to a wall, then pulling each and every one of my fingers off. I remember thinking to myself when they pulled off my index finger that these were some sadistic fuckers. Only for them all, each of my fingers, to grow back and the whole process to start from the beginning. awoke in my bed, gasping for air as I shot up. "Are you okay? What happened?" I heard my wife say while hugging me. "Just another nightmare. I think my medicine is messing with me again," I replied, getting up. "I'm gonna go make some coffee and get a little work done. Go back to bed," I said before kissing her head and heading to the kitchen. It was 7 in the morning and the sun was just beginning to rise. I started a pot of coffee and grabbed my laptop off its charger to do my annual reports that were due next week. Becoming the new manager of a company was pretty hard and still entitled a lot more work than others think. While I sat there sipping my coffee, I thought to myself about how I was finally happy and living a life I wanted. It took years of therapy after my parents' death in that accident, but it was worth it. I finally found a woman of my dreams and had 2 beautiful kids. Life was good and nothing could ever change that. Once I was done with work and finished my cup of coffee, I started breakfast. I awoke my kids and my wife to chocolate chip pancakes before going out and getting some groceries. While at the grocery store, I felt as if I was being watched by something or someone, but any time I looked around, nothing was there. Until finally, in the corner of my eye, I saw a silhouette of a person. It looked as if a negative space was standing there in the shape of a person. My head started ringing and my vision was getting blurry before the next thing I knew, I was waking up gasping for air again, this time not waking my wife. The worst thing was I felt something take over my body and grab her pillow. I couldn't do anything but scream in my mind as the pillow was placed over her head and her fighting began. Then slowed down until she became limp. It happened over and over until I finally realized what's happening. I was punishing myself. I lost her long ago, but she's not dead. She just didn't want to be a part of whatever I was doing. Something was pulling my strings. Flashes of lights and people scattered my vision as I grabbed my head tighter before waking up in the forest. Slowly getting up, I noticed that I was clad in armor. Chainmail covered all appendages, while shiny yet bloody breastplate lay on my chest. Hearing screams, I looked up and watched as a vicious beast tore apart people wearing both the same and different colors as me. A werewolf, but that's not possible. They've been extinct since the Dark Ages. Then I remembered where I was and looked down at what I was wearing. "Fuck," I said to myself before looking up and meeting a hand of bloody claws coming towards my face. Falling down, I feel my jaw slack and see my ear on the ground. Trying to get up, I feel the beast slash my Achilles before feeling its mouth close on the back of my neck. I wake up on the floor panting for another breath, not knowing what was happening or what reality I'm in. Audio transcript, case log 26, name, entity, location, seller.
Have you had enough? Are you now willing to accept what you do is for nothing?
Why is it for nothing?
Because in all realities and timelines, you'll die a horrible you encounter nothing like me, I should be what you're worried about. These other pathetic creatures just go on and murder more people. You are not helping the world at all, only making it worse. You will never have a happy life, only a life covered in darkness. Meeting me solidifies that.
Bullshit.
What did you say?
I said bullshit. If you were a being that was here at the beginning and the end, then why go through all this trouble just to meet?
We will always meet. I have been guiding your hand this whole way. I have put all these pieces in place and motion. Whether you have noticed my presence or not. And I'm the one you meet before and after death. What don't you understand?
How you supposedly know everything when you don't?
Well then, I will have to show you everything once more.
For the first time, I could see the facial features in the entity. Sunken in eyes, a mouth full of sharp white teeth as it bore its hands towards me. It seemed ecstatic in the thought of torturing me more. But what it saw as torture, I saw as learning it. My plan to provoke it further had worked. Even though this knowledge could be forbidden, whatever I could learn would help. Everything has a weakness. I just need to find it. Try your best. Audio transcript, case log 26, end. Well, howdy y'all. Grim here, and I hope you enjoyed my retelling of this amazing story titled I Search for the Things People Are Too Scared to Believe in. Now, this is a 3-part series, technically 4, if you want to be cheeky about it, but it is a very good telling of a pretty intense, creepy tale. At least I think so. It was written by the amazing author Cole Blaze K, as they're known on Reddit. I'll have their details in the description below as always. And I hope you've enjoyed my retelling. So I guess I'll touch on a couple of other things while I'm here with you. Firstly, since I started my channel, it's grown quite a bit. We made it to 1,600 people subscribed, if you can believe it. In all fairness, I can't, because if you look at the number of people who still watch my channel, it's not actually that reflective. But hey, that's just for now. I was gone for a while, and I'm going to get back to regular uploads. I'm thinking that for now, I can see myself continuing along the no sleep stories. I just really like those. I may do a longer, like a longer story after I complete it. For example, combining all the parts together. And I will do a couple of Let's Not Meet long sleep stories, but I'm contemplating possibly starting a new channel for those. Not because I don't want them on this channel, but because I feel I don't want people to subscribe for the wrong reasons. I don't want them to think I'm a sleep channel when actually I'm a storyteller like this. Well, I think I've dragged on well and truly too much, and I apologize for that. I hope with bated breath. No, I'm kidding. I hope you are safe wherever you are, and that you look after yourself. Take care, and that I'll see you in the next video. As always, this is Grim, and well, I'm signing off.